Hello everybody, Astroflower readers. Welcome to the monthly readings, the monthly reading for May. This is going to be a collective reading, so we're going to see what's going on in the collective. I love the collective consciousness. I really enjoy myself on that. I enjoy myself on all the other stuff as well, but you know, I do have a little special place for the collective readings. I really do love it. So let's just get into here. We're going to be pulling sort of like an Astroflower and going in sort of like week 1, 2, 3, and 4 in a way, but also we're going to be sort of doubling it up, using that as the influence in the universe, our influence from our past, our ancestors, our future selves, and the overall outcome from it. And also this is the overall energies and the karmic messages maybe that we need to sort of like integrate this month here. So let's get in here. Let's hope we have a lovely reading. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. Let's just see what's going on with the overall energy. King of Pentacles. I think this comes out of the back of that alcoholic beverage scenario that happened, where it proved that people have the power in their pockets. And this is so true. If you really want to influence the world at the moment, you know, start with what you got in your pocket, and then start as well of what you emotionally put your time and effort into, you know, and what what you're watching and stuff like that, you know, what you're participating in. And this King of Pentacles here is out of knowledge, and it's learning process, and it's a learning process on the physical level, on the material sort of side of life. So as much as on the material side, within relationships of the spirit and energy, how we connect with energy physically, maybe how we emotionally engage with the world physically. And this is a time of activation. It's almost a time of feeling that security in realizing the power you have in your pocket and the power that you have in your heart as well, and what you apply to in life, you know, how you apply it all in life. I think this is what the overall learning, the overall energy is for this month here, and we've got to just go ahead and do it, people. We've got to just take back control. You know, voting once every 4 years, do you really think it's working? Do you really think that works? I'm not sure. We seem to be continually still doing things after doing a massive argument back in 1939 to 45 and 1914 to 1919, you know, where loads of people passed away. And we're still doing that? Really? Are we still doing that mime? You know, have we not understood? Yeah, I think we have, people. And it's time to sort of say, no, not on my watch. Not on my watch. I'm not going to participate in that. And, you know, I'm not going to give it the energy. Got to stop watching that sort of thing. And I think this is a case here of actually seizing that power. Standing in the power of knowing. That's what it seems to be about. So on the emotional side of life, on the relationship side of life, this is what I mean. We've understood that, and that's what that wand is standing behind. That's achievements, and we should be passionate about this achievements of how we have progressed as a collective. It's an amazing journey when you look over the last sort of 200 years. Just think about it for a minute. It's mind-blowing how far we've come, but we've got so much more to do. And this is just a pause as we're going ahead and doing it and putting into action. This is our karmic mission here. We've got to put into action what we've achieved and what we so desire in regards to how we interact with one another, how we engage our energies in the world, how we engage our spirit in the world. That's what we got to do, people. We've really got to take back control, just for the sake of the kids, for the sake of the planet, for everything, you know, for the sake of the human race as well. You know, we've got to take back control of what you've got in your pocket, spending your money in local businesses, encouraging sort of well-being, or sort of organic businesses, and conscious businesses as well, I think is a really good way of showing, showing this is how you should vote. This is how we should vote. So this is what's happening on the relationship side. Let's just see what's happening on the financial side, because we're going to do it week by week, on one from the other, and then gradually work our way through. So this is taking that leap of faith in regards to what you got in your pocket. Really, really starting to sort of sculpt this wealth. Because business, if you stop spending your money at a company, businesses will listen to that. They can't do anything but. And they will have to adhere to what their clients, if they have any anymore, what their clients are asking them to be like. They've got to reflect their clients. If they don't, they've got to find a whole new client base. And the way things have been going at the moment, that client base is not there. The client base that is really there is now starting to wake up and sort of saying, no, actually, we don't want that world. And that's that logical revolution happening. And that's going to take a little bit of a leap of faith. We're going to have to do that. So in the first week of May, this is knowing that power, that emotional power we have, that joy of connecting with other people that correspond in that logic. And once we start, connecting with one another as a collective, we will be then standing up, and everything across the world will have to take notice. They won't be able to ignore it. They can, if I was to sort of, they could put out, things on mainstream media or media in general, on the social platforms that is not happening in the world, or doesn't correspond to what people are actually doing. They're going to be so detached that eventually things will start drying up for them, and it will happen. We could do it overnight. We could do it within the month. We could really put this world back on a whole new platform. Okay? And I think this is what this realization is, and the universe is trying to encourage us to do this. The universe is sort of saying, if you want to get this, if you want to go through this pole shift and this energy change and come out of it as a respectful species, because we are just that, a species, humanoid species, that can take its place, its rightful place in the universe by our actions. That's how it happens. And this is what we've got to do in this sort of first week. And the universe is sort of saying, yes, putting into action the planning that we've done, the planning that is within you. And I'm not saying to you what you should do. It can't work like that anymore. Hence my name is Lawless. It's not because I don't have any laws. It's just that I'm above them. I don't need laws to tell me what to do, really. I know you shouldn't be cheating. I know you shouldn't be killing another person. I know all of that. You know all of that. I don't need a law to tell me that. It's bleeding obvious, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like sort of, having that elephant in your bathroom and kind of going, well, is it, you sure it's an elephant? It's, there's no debate about this, and I think everybody understands if someone was trying to chop my head off, God forbid, if someone was really trying to finish my existence, you got to be really careful what you say, because I don't want to get cancelled or anything on this sort of like platform. Sort of cancel my existence, and I happen to cancel the existence of that other person. That's understandable, you know what I mean? That's what we'd call legitimate self-defense, and I think everybody would know that as common sense. And this is where there's no real argument in here, and laws, tend to be set up in order to favour certain groups. Let's put it that way. And I think this is a moment where spiritually, emotionally, in relationships with one another, we've got this May, this starting of May is we are taking the stand, and we're starting to get, and people, we're starting to get noticed. The logic, the new logic that's come through in this pole shift, and this pole shift that's going on, is going to be stand up and be counted. And the universe wishes this. What's happening? Look, we've got to have this leap of faith, a walk away from an old way of doing finances. It's realizing what the power you've got in your pocket. Ultimate. It's going to be brilliant. And that's the first week as well. And that walking away is it's going to make us collectively feel that, you know, we've got our rightful place because we've chosen it through voting through our pockets and through our spirit and our mind. And I think it's a very good thing. You know, I don't want to see the end of, personally, I don't want to see the end of YouTube and stuff like that, or any sort of businesses. I think they're really good platforms. But we do need to take a little bit, you know, of a control back of what we're going to accept as sort of influences from various quarters of the world, you know, or various aspects of the human being, or various aspects of the financial world. And that's what we've got to walk away from and set a new standard. This is what it seems to be. And that's possibly what the King of Pentacles is all about. Let's just see what's going on in week 2. The moon. This is on the relationship side. It's bringing to the surface the what was previously unseen. And I think this is what was previously unseen by the general public, because it wasn't on the list to be seen, as it were, if you know what I mean. I think this is going to bring a lot of things to the surface, which is going to signify a bright change. And being honest about things, when things don't work, you've got to be honest about it. You know, it's there's nothing to win on this planet Earth. And you know, I say to people in my healing all the time, and I've been doing loads of healing. It's been absolutely brilliant. Really have been enjoying that. You know, I say to loads of people, in French, you say for ownership, you say proprietor. So you say propriétaire. Okay, and French is an amazing language, and that's why we use it as international law and the language of diplomacy, because it's so precise and it's so explanatory within its words. So proprietor is in French is propriétaire. So when you break it up into 3 words, you say prop, which means clean, and pre, as in taken, and then we got terre, which is earth. So it's clean and taken from the earth. You don't actually own a thing. Everything comes from this planet. Everything. Your telephone, my telephone, you know, which is often collected in a mine by disadvantaged people, which has to change. This is the sort of thing that has to change. If I could buy another telephone, and I'm sure there is links out there to like not, yeah, an ecological telephone, but also a you know, a sociable ecological sort of telephone as well. You know, your telephone, my telephone comes from the earth, and it will be going back to the earth at some point. Same with my body. Same with the house I live in. Nothing gets away from it, and you're not going to take it with you. So you don't actually own anything. And I think this is what this is bringing it to the surface. Is not, you can't own, you know, you can't own the reality that is being presented spiritually, energetically, that sort of thing. And the moon is bringing things to the surface, so you can acknowledge, it's, as I say, there's nothing to win. You can acknowledge when something is actually better than this, and it works better. It's much more efficient, much more ecological. And that's going to be the driving values in us. And I think there's something that comes up out of the blue in this moon card here. We're going to be clarifying afterwards. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let's just see what goes on the material side. This is also how our past selves are trying to explain things to us, and this is what they're bringing through as well, the stuff that's unseen. Just to finish that off, on the material side, we get the Ten of Pentacles. I think this is what is saying here is this is the second week, and I think it's a realization of kind of sort of saying, people, what we've already got and produced, and if financially, materialistically, if we really realize the abundance that we actually do have in this world at the moment, and if we used it properly, and that's where this is what this walking away from an old way of doing things and walking towards something which is using the abundance that we do have on this planet in a very sensible way, in a very logical way. As I say, it'd be nice to have a telephone that's ecological and everything like that. But also at the same time, you're going to want that telephone to be quality telephone. And, you're going to need, communication companies to start working with that telephone. And, if we start with our pockets, we're going to start doing it. And, things will change very quickly. And this Ten of Pentacles is the past. We have the abundance of the past in order to create a very bright and beautiful future. And it's doing it active in a way that's, we are actually applied in it. You choose every day. Every day you vote for what you want as a world. And as I say, I'm not going to tell you what to do and what to pay, what to buy and what not to buy. All I'm giving you my logical sort of ideas of what possibly could happen. But within your area where you are, spend your money wisely, spend your money correctly, as it were, in regards to, investing in real people, and using your energy and your emotions and applying them very logically as well, and freely within the world. So it's sort of, if there's something that you don't like in the world, just sort of say, no, thanks. That is, you're blocking those emotions, because you're sort of saying, you're not blocking those emotions, but you're sort of saying that doesn't correspond to what I perceive to be a harmonious, spiritual and energetic sort of viable future. So, and then something else comes along and you kind of go, and that's absolutely lovely. You won't agree with everything, and everything won't agree with you. But I'm sure you'll agree with a lot of things. And with enough people involved in that. So this world is going to be made up of a multitude of cultures, multitude of ways of doing things. But at the same time, it's going to be in that logical goal of harmony and, abundance for all. So let's just see what's going on this side here. On the third week, and this ties into what is coming up out of the past and unveiling towards us spiritually. Is there a choice to be made, or is it just an evident path? I think once we start putting into place that universal plan, you could even say it's the plan of the big cheese, the man upstairs or the person upstairs. Sorry. I'd be willing to go the person upstairs. Doesn't bother me at all. No. Completely non-gendered. Because it's, anyway, another story for another day. Yeah. Once we put into that, get into sync and harmony of that plan emotionally and connecting with the world around us, I've got a funny feeling there is choices we need to make with this Two of Swords. It's a choice of sort of saying, what future do we want? and not being blinkered by it. So not looking at the future like this, saying this is the only future we can have. I think it's a case of sort of saying, no, I'm looking in this direction, but I can see things around me like that. But, you know, and you might be next to me, so this might be right in front of you, but it's not right in front of me, but I can still see it. If you understand what I mean, it's still following your path, but being conscious that also your path is running alongside other people's paths. So you don't want to upset them, they don't want to upset you, and the best thing is if we start moving together, then obviously that's going to create another flow of energy within us and take us to the next level. And it could well be a difficult decision according to what has come out of the past, that's come to the surface, because we've implemented this plan and we know where we're going, we've got our righteous place. It doesn't necessarily mean it's easy and it's just going to be free love. Because we went through that in the 60s, 1960s, and out of the 1960s came the punk movement, which is a great movement as well, but you couldn't say it's like free love, you know. And then out of the punk movement, which was fight the system, came the yuppies, which was the total system. And it's like this pendulum that's constantly swinging around in all different sort of directions. And it's, you know, so, but there's no point doing the same things as what we've already done. We've got to be progressive about it. And we got the Nine of Cups. This can be coming up for everybody in their individual readings as well. I got to say so is the Two of Swords as well. The Nine of Cups here is through this abundance and through walking away from the old system, taking a leap of faith and realizing the power that we have in our pockets and the abundance that we've already got on this planet that we're probably not using to the best abilities. We're all of a sudden going to realize that we've done loads of work and we've got lots of gifts around us within our natural spheres around us as individuals that collectively we could be in a really good place. And it's striving for that. It's striving to being a little bit more creative about life. It's striving as well to, share those happiness, those moments of happiness with people that are around you. You know, when people are sharing their happiness, if there's not any takers, let's just say it was like someone sharing their happiness through a YouTube video and no one watches it, it doesn't diminish their message at all. It just sort of says, you know, naturally there's other things that are happening, or that naturally there's things that we should be flowing through. As long as it is natural and it's not contrived, and this is where the pushback is coming from the logical progression, because we recognize when, you know, on YouTube that there's videos that you kind of think, no, that's just staged, you know, or no, that's just like trying to tell me what I need, you know, I've got to think, you know, or how I should be, or anything like that. You know, the moment people start saying that, you just kind of like, nah. But the other videos where I'm learning a lot, and I'm listening to people who are really expressing an inner truth as well, you can recognize it. Once you get into that, you know, that logical revolution, you're going to recognize it. With the Page of Pentacles, it's by the end of the month here, in the 4th week, and we seem to have gone through emotional decisions according to the past, and new information that's come up that's coming through the human social side. And I think this is on a very big scale. It could be on a scale of some form of governance and everything like that, and realize, you know, I think we might realize that we've been taken for a ride on a lot of things as a collective, and therefore we've got to make that decision to sort of say, no, don't want that. And once we do that, we can then recognize that there's now this longer cycle that's coming into play, And with this longer cycle, we can then start giving that longer cycle a certain direction by how we apply our energy, emotions, and what we've got in our pocket, and etc. We will be able to change the world instantaneously. We've seen this already with that beverage company. Okay, so the Page of Pentacles is learning about these longer term cycles. What we've done in the past to get all that abundance within us, within this world, that is a very long cycle, and we should know that. We should know how this progressive sort of cycle happens and how it happens naturally in life. Okay, that's how it seems to be here by the end of the month, and I think it's going to be pushed by the material side. Yeah, I'm going to pull some cards on for nature itself afterwards, because it seems to be talking mainly about sort of like the financial side, or the the material side of how we actually interact with one another. But so I'm going to pull some few cards and see if the nature's got anything to offer up, because there's been some very strange stuff going on in the way of energies. Let's just see a clarification with the King of Cups, King of Pentacles. Sorry, we have the King of Pentacles. I said it exactly right, apparently. This is the thing, is when you've got that knowledge and you're sitting in your power of that knowledge, there's no other way around it. 1 and plus 1 is 2. Yeah, you could debate it in a particular way that is 1 and 1 2. Because surely if you take 1 and then you add another 1 to it, you still only got one thing. But you got those two things become combined and only become one. It's a philosophical question, but mathematically, 1 plus 1 equals 2, and you're not going to change that. And this is the whole logic thing is all about. And this is where the King of Pentacles plays totally in that way of being. Let's just see what's going on with the karmic messages here. Let's just see what's clarifying that. We got the 5 of Swords. This is walking away from complications in the past. This is the plan for putting things into the future. Walking away from conflicts that didn't really work, didn't really serve anything. As I said, we've already done conflicts. We don't need to do it anymore between us emotionally, spiritually, energetically. Those sort of things we need to just realize, walk away from, because the people who are still stuck in that paradigm will eventually sort of get bored with knocking hell bells out of each other, and then they'll look elsewhere and they're kind of go, actually we're on our own. Oh, that's a shame. And so I think it's a case of here that it's putting into plan will help us to walk away from complicated situations or conflicts that didn't really serve us with anything. The High Priestess. The High Priestess is, it's all to do with. The High Priestess is all to do with sort of channeling the intuition, channeling the vibrations in a very physical way. On these cards here, she's working on a computer and stuff like that, but she's got like this, like the moon and the sun card here at the top. The moon and the sun, sorry, on her head, and she's sort of like combining the natural rhythms or the natural vibrations in life, the universal vibrations, and channeling them in a way that is very productive. It's using that intuition in a way that's going to help us walk away from this thing, take a leap of faith, and actually realize the abundance and the future that we have in front of us. So with this fall, it is a leap of faith, but it's not a leap of faith born out of absolute nothing. It's a leap of faith born out of your own personal intuition of whether you should put your money into this or not. Whether you're going to buy into this idea or not. That's the sort of thing. Let's just see what's going on the first week with the emotional side. So with the Six of Wands, of taking our rightful place as a collective and realizing we're getting some rightful sort of victories and a real glow up moment for the collective, we're also learning about how we can apply this, our passions within life. And that's the first week of, learning curve, like the Page of Pentacles. They're all about learning and stuff like that. But this Page of Wands here is learning about how we apply our passions into life. And with this like sense of achievement that comes in the first week for the collective, it's going to build a lot of passions with us. And how do we apply it? This is where we come back to maybe the Two of Wands, of putting into place, the great plan, as it were. And I talk about the great plan as in sort of, the connection to the big kahuna, the big cheese, the person upstairs, that sort of plan. Let's just see what's going on this side. And we get the Empress. The Empress and the High Priestess. The Empress is like the Emperor. It is sitting in our power, but in a completely different way to the Emperor. The Emperor sits in its power in regards to authority, as in physically conquering something. The Empress sits in her power where she has takes from the world around her the chaos that comes in through information that we see, information that we hear, information that we feel, information that we sort of vibrate through the vibrations that we have, that intuition. It's taking all those things and making sense of it and creating something new. And this is what we're walking away from, because we're walking towards a new creation, a new way of doing finances, a new way of voting or constructing, or creating the reality that is around us in a physical sort of sense. Okay, let's just see what's going on in the next week and the second week after that. So we've got Four of Swords. I think these things that are coming to the surface here, Four of Swords is about healing as well, getting some really good, nice sleeps, or just also finding your home and your place. And I think the things that come to the surface here are going to make us feel like almost like that it's like, okay, that feels right. That fits with this logic. That gives me good healing. I feel, at one, and I can relax. Because once we know, we can all relax. And I think this sort of, this unknown information that is coming to the surface, and I think it's on a personal level on regards to governance. I think it's on a personal level in regards to how we interact with our neighbour, the people in the street. Just saying hello. The moment you make eye contact with people, I always like to say hello. They don't have to say hello back. You don't have to say hello back. You could even be nasty back. I don't really care. If you're going to be nasty back, then I'm only saying hello. Relax, Max. And it's understanding that aspect of it all. I've got the Ace of Wands that want to come out over here. I'm going to put it over here. I'm not sure whether it should be going there. I'm going to put it there because I want to pull another card in that Ten of Pentacles because I haven't quite got onto it. But their cards just want to jump out all the time. And we've got the Queen of Swords. Maybe it's here is realising this passion here. Because I haven't quite finished about that. I think it's something that comes out of that's going to make out with the old and in with the new. I think this is what that is all about. So I was trying to clarify that and that Moon card and what it concerns with. And I think it's out with the old way of doing things and this old monologue that we've been, shoveling down our throats for many, many years now. I think that's coming to the end. And I think that's going to provide a lot of healing between the general people. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter which country you're from. You go there and you meet general people. We all want the same thing. We all want to be happy. We all want a good family. you know, we all need to eat. We all want to be slightly warm in winter and down the beach in summer. You know, everybody wants that, regardless of what nation you're from. Obviously, it might change from sort of like, if you're in Tibet, you may not want to be down the beach. You might want to be up the mountain. You know, but all I'm saying is we're all on the same path. And once the world realizes that, and we realize the power we have in our pocket, and the power we have in our spirit and our emotions and our energy, all of a sudden, we could take this world to a whole new level. It could be absolutely amazing. Right, let's do this 10 of Pentacles here. 10 of Pentacles is the King of Cups. Having control over our emotions. So if you imagine, like, we realized how much resources we've taken out of the earth already, and how much we got floating around in rubbish, how we could recycle it, all of this stuff, or reuse it. It would be phenomenal. Basically, it would be absolutely phenomenal. But if we haven't got control of our emotions, we'll just kind of go running off in a direction. We have to be very cool and level-headed about it all, I think. And realizing that, kind of going, okay, we're not going to mess it up a second time round, or we're going to get it better a second time round. And I think this is where, in regards to business and stuff like that, that's what we're doing here, and giving us a really cool, calm look at the situation, and using our intuition, combining all of those sensory stuff that we have within us in order to develop and create a new way of interacting with one another, and having a control over our emotions to actually just apply it in the world. And I think it's going to be a very momentous situation for us as a collective. Let's go on this Two of Swords. What's going on with this Two of Swords? We've got the Ace of Swords. I've forgotten which sign it was. I think it was Aries. I'm not sure. You'll have to go and check. You'll know. If you've seen your weekly readings, you'll be able to tell me. It might be a case here with the old and in with the new. So we got two aces here, which is starting this whole process off in the second and third week here. The Ace of Swords is sort of like a victory, or not a victory, but that doesn't feel like that. It's more like sort of an achievement, that we're following that plan, and actually there is no real choices to be made. We might be presented with a choice, but if we look at it logically, all of a sudden we're going to realize there's only one sword, and that is coming out of the sun, out of the bigger plan, as it were, our position, our rightful place in the universe. And this is what might be offering here, sort of saying there is no choice to go back. There is only a forward, evident path to take. And it does come a little bit out of left field as well. It's starting of this thing just comes out of that sort of unknown that's coming to the surface. And realizing that the logic, which is left and right, binary, and that's what the Two of Swords is all about, the logical thinking makes you not have any choices. It doesn't diminish your emotional side of life, because your emotions are in your body. In order to have an emotion, you need to feel something, right? But I could cut somebody's brain, and I'm not going to do that, obviously. But there is operations where people with Parkinson's disease, and they put electrodes into, and whilst they're awake, because you can't actually feel anything in your brain. So you can't put any emotions there. And I think this week here, the third week here, is this realization that we have to have a certain degree of control over our emotions. See what's going on with the Nine of Cups. The Knight of Cups. Lots of things being offered here. I think this is lots of opportunities, lots of creativity, lots of opportunities that are being offered to us collectively through this new way of doing things, the new way of applying ourselves within the material world that is around us. And these new things can come through communications, but it could also be a physical offering of love, an emotional offering of, because we're in the financial side or the material side. It's more of a case of, say, like kind of saying, let's bygone be bygones. I think it was, I've forgotten who is it saying about it. I think it was Jordan Peterson, who was saying that if you increase if you decrease poverty, so if you bring the lower sections of poverty out of poverty, we naturally start looking after our environment in a better way. And I think this is what this is all about. And it's kind of sort of saying, with this realization coming out, it's not within your interest for someone else to be on their knees financially, or someone else to be on their knees sort of like in the material world. It's not within your interest. So it's good to look after the other person. It's not a case of just kind of saying, okay, you've done nothing, therefore you deserve a 5-bedroom house and swimming pool and Ferrari and everything. That doesn't work, obviously. This is what the logical things about it. I'm not gonna stand around and just make sure everything's all right if you're not gonna be bothered to get off your backside and actually live life. If you in a way, it's like sort of like, if you're not doing anything, go out and just plant, flowers in the street. Why not? That's going to help people out, and people appreciate it. People walk down the road kind of going, that's amazing. Oh yeah, Bob did that. Did he? Did he get paid for that? No, he didn't. Oh, he's all right though. Everyone makes sure he's all right. And he loves doing it. And Bob becomes immensely famous because of what he does. And then he has, all of a sudden, all those abundance that comes through. Or you could be, you're in your job, you're working, you're doing well. And you're sharing that love. You bring over a few seeds for Bob to plant, and you will be appreciated as well. No one's a loser in this way. No one's a loser because no one is winning the pot. The pot is there to make sure everybody's all right. And that's what we got to realize. And we realize that by saying how we use what we got in our pocket. With the page of... No, we didn't have I thought we had the 5 of Cups. With the Page of Pentacles. Now, this is learning about this longer term cycle. This comes in from this idea of setting in place this plan. Walking away with that 8 of Cups there. Walking away from a past system that doesn't really work anymore. Yes, there might be things that you kind of like... you have regrets from the past as a collective. We have regrets that we didn't do things in a really good way. And that's those 3 of Cups. And that could be, the regrets is that we didn't get on better. That we didn't enjoy each other's company. Regardless of what your standpoint is to do with religion, politics, or finances, or whatever. It's a shame we didn't get on collectively in a very harmonious way, because that would have been... I think this is... Because this new cycle here, we kind of realise... I think there's going to be a realise of... The disappointment is the fact that actually we could be a lot further down the line than we are today if we'd done this a lot earlier. And I think this is really important lesson. And it's looking good and hard at the past, recognizing our shortcomings, recognizing the disappointing aspect of the human collective, because we certainly do have it. But the moment we realize that's what's disappointing, we can take those 2 cups there, the 2 of Cups, which is that sort of connection with one's higher self, or connection with our collective higher self, go across that bridge, and then go to that new city there and build something completely new and discover a whole new way of doing things. And using that disappointment of the past as a very good lesson as not to get all messed up for the future. Let's just, I'd like to pull a few cards. I'm going to pull 2 cards basically to see what's maybe coming in the following month. We're talking about June here. That may play into the solar eclipse reading, which is a 6 monthly reading, which I've done on this channel. Just see what comes out of that. I also then going to pull 3 cards down here for the Earth or the nature or the solar system. See if there's anything coming out of that. So what's coming through in June? That judgment, that realization. And I think this is putting into plan this actions around us. And we are going to be ascending, people. The collective is really, looks like it's going to be ascending. And walking away from those conflictual paths. That disappointment in the past. Because we're walking to ascending or an evolutionary longer cycle that we're learning about. Yeah. So that's what sort of and we get the 9 of Cups. I needed to find out what the overall energy is for that month as well, because that's what seems to be playing out in the because we got that 5 of Swords down there as well, and the 9 of Cups comes in from here as well, and this is using all those gifts in a very wise way, you know, really getting wise about it and getting wise about energy as well. You know, a lot of things. I've been an energy healer, and I've been watching. I've been observing auras for 30 odd years, and it's an amazing learning curve when you can actually see, or you know, auras around everything and how it actually sort of interacts with one another. It's a beautiful thing and makes life very logical, very straightforward. And even within the energy world, as it were, there is a lot of sort of copy-paste of Wikipedia. And unfortunately, it's a case of if we keep repeating enough, people are going to believe it to be true. And there's a lot of things within the energy world which need to be reassessed as well. You know, there's no doubt about it. You can't have just the white out of the yin and the yang. You've got to have the black as well. You know, you've got to understand that negative and positive have to be in harmony in order for it to work. You can't just say, oh, we're going to suppress the negative. But what you can do is you can say, we can put the positive in front of us and learn about our mistakes, our negative past. And that's what that 5 of Cups is all about. You could do it that way. But at the same time, no matter what, even when you go towards that positive, you're still going to create negatives. Because otherwise it won't work anymore. That's just the way it goes. And this whole sort of idea of law of attraction and stuff like that, that's where the negative it's got to equal out the positive as well. So you can't just sit around sort of saying, I'm going to be stinking rich. I'm going to be really rich. I'm going to be really rich. Because someone is going to get poor off that, you wishing to be really rich. Someone's going to be really, really poor. Someone's going to be really, 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 really poor. Because that's the way it works. And it might be karmic justice for them. You know, I'm not the judge here. All I'm just telling you is how it works. That's all. And nature has that way of bringing that negativity back up to harmony with the positivity. So not being delusional. Basically, let's get on to Mother Nature. So Mother Nature, we're talking about the natural system. We're talking about the earth. Let's pull, because I'm very interested in the sun and the way the vibrations that come from the sun that create the vibrations of the earth, and therefore then create the vibrations in you and me, etc., and how we interact with those vibrations. And I want to know about, because the sun is that prana energy, that ki energy, that chi energy, the pneuma, as the Greeks would call it. I think it's baraka in Arabic. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Or the saint, the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. You know, that sort of thing. It runs through the whole sort of system. So let's pull something for the universe. Let's pull something from the universe. And this is like that galactic plane of what we're going through. And then we'll pull one for the sun, and then we'll pull one for the earth. And let's see if they need a bit of clarifications. So this is for the galactic plane, the universe. The King of Cups, that harmonious, it is bringing us into harmony stage. And this is as we go from the southern part of the galaxy into the northern part of the galaxy. And that's what we're transitioning at the moment. That's what pole shift's all about. And it happens at a very regular basis. You know, there's very particular points, mainly 6,000, 12,000, 24,000, 18,000, that sort of, you know, 6, 12, 18, 24. Those are the main ones. Then you do obviously have every 3,000 years, every 1,500, every 750, every 375 years. You know, and it works in very similar sort of ways to that. You know, sort of cycles, as it were. But the major ones are sort of 6, 12, 18, 24, etc. Yeah. You can go up to 48 and 64, and you know, really, you know, it's very, very obvious. And we're coming into this point here, and I think this is where we're getting the feedback on the logical sort of progression. Is the universe is we've been, you know, getting close to that galactic plane, and when we get into it, it's almost we get into a point where there's no more north or south to the galactic plane, because we're right bang in the middle of it. And that's what the sort of energy is happening for the earth. Oh, not for the earth, for the you know, the universe. That's the energy that's put through to you. It's actually a normal plain sailing event. And you know, we should be very calm and you know, and at ease with this change, because we can't. You're not going to stop it. You know, not by buying recycling bags and you know, using sort of low emission sort of lighting. You know, they're not going to change how the galaxy turns on around it all. You know, we have incredibly limited effects on the whole system as a whole. And I think this is a realization here where the universe is trying to help us to understand that actually this is a very harmonious process, and we should get into that harmony. Let's just see what's going on with the sun. Let's just see, is there going to be like, some big messages. This is where I'm going to have to clarify that, because there's, you know, we've had the aurora borealis that's come down really south, very, very south, 4 times, I think, or 3 times, you might correct me if I'm wrong, in the last 2 months. And normally it happens once every sort of 15, 20, 30 years. But because of the diminishing magnetic field of the Earth, the sun is really affecting the Earth in very, you know, minor ways, but affecting it majorly. And I think this is where the sun is putting out a lot of messages, putting out a lot of prana energy, and this could be to do with solar sort of flares. This could be to do with corona holes or sort of filament energies. Let's just see if we can get some clarification out of that. Let's just see what that is going to be. It seems to be like a leap of faith. It ties into that as well. A leap of faith. It's very much an air thing, so it could be. It might be a messages of faith in regards to a solar flare. Are we going to have a big solar flare? Well, we got the 2 of Swords. It's going to put us into an evident spot, and real choices to be made. in regards to what these messages, that leap of faith. You know, could it be a filament energy? Well, that ties beautifully into the filament energy. You know, the sun flare, the solar flare is definitely air energy. It's air and fire energy. And filament energy is water energy. It's going to channel that love, that offering of a new opportunity. That's what the messages that are coming through from the sun. Let's just see what's happening for the earth. The earth, I think, is to do with like a healing sort of scenario for the collective. I thought there was a card turned the wrong way. Well, maybe not. So let's just see what's going on with the earth. Is there any going to be earth or geological events? Page of Wands, it ties into this side this time. It could be, you know, it could be like a volcano or something like that, or you know, that sort of thing happens. It could to do with fire. You know, it's something to do with fire. You know, is it to do with volcanoes and stuff like that? Justice. We get this justice card. What do we not have justice there somewhere? No, we didn't. But you know, it's going to bring harmony back to the environment. If you have a volcano goes off, it puts out so much CO2 and so much dust into the atmosphere, the particles into the atmosphere, that it really does cool it down. It's the cooling system of the earth. It's one of the cooling systems of the earth. Yeah. And it's like, so it's one of the cooling systems of the earth. And I think there seems to be an event that's coming through here that is going to bring harmony back within the earth here. Is it like a volcano? Is it an earthquake or a volcano? Maybe it's something that comes. The earth interacts with something that we haven't really seen it working like that. So there is a thing called sprites, and there's this sort of lightning that goes from the ground to the sky during pole shift. And we saw a lot in Kansas. I think it was in Kansas about sort of 6 months ago. I posted a video on the other channel, Somatic TV, about this, about signs of pole shift. And it may be something that the earth is going to be doing, which is going to make us look at life in a completely different way. May is fun packed, man. May is it's the movement of May. It's getting on and doing things. It's going forward. It's progressing. It's understanding. It's opening up, learning. Lots and lots of things going on here in May. A really good thing to keep your eye out for. I will be doing the lunar eclipse reading, and you will have your individual May readings coming out as well this week. So thank you very much for being here on this channel and the support that you give this channel. Absolutely beautiful. Really do appreciate it. I hope you get the best out of these tarot readings. Really do enjoy it. Love doing it. And I will be collaborating with another YouTube channel to do some live stuff. Maybe even doing some live healing and stuff like that, which I do. I do that on a daily basis. I love doing that as well, healing. I've been doing it for 30 years. Just absolutely adore it. Yeah, I'll probably be doing that on the channels as well. So thank you very much for being here, subscribing, clicking the bell, and liking, sharing and commenting and all the things that YouTube demands. Just do what you think is logical, basically. Just do what you think is logical. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for being here. Don't forget, life should be fun. So please do enjoy.